I know what I'll be doing tonight. Looks like they need a round bale. This has just been a crazy week with rain and snow and cold. I'm just ready for it to be over with. Bonnie and Clyde got the right idea. Don't ya? What are we up to, piggies? A little bit warmer out today than what it's been last few days, huh? Yeah. One day this past week, it was below freezing all day. Their water froze up, so I had to drop a tank heater in from the top and let the water thaw out. And then I had to take a propane torch to each one of their water nipples, get those to thaw out so water would flow again. So we had to do that for about a 24-hour period, but thankfully it's warmed up and we don't have to worry about that anymore. That day too, I also put a couple extra small square bales of hay in their shelter for them to burrow into, and I came up later in the afternoon and you couldn't even see them. They were completely buried underneath that hay trying to stay warm. So they didn't do a whole lot those couple days, but good to see them out venturing around again today. The pigs were the only ones that I had to make quick provisions to accommodate the cold weather for. The cattle, the chickens, they were fine. No issues there whatsoever. Well, the 460 utility, it's out of the shop, as you can obviously tell. That process started a week ago Sunday. Logan and I got the front end off of it. We got the engine off of it. And that was enough work for that day. And then earlier this week, in amongst different things in my bus runs, I got the clutch housing off of the rear half of the tractor. I dragged the rear half of the tractor and all the pieces are scattered throughout the property here for right now. Eventually that stuff's gonna go up for sale that we don't need and we're not gonna keep. But I got the clutch housing stripped down and I found some good things and I found some bad things. So one of the good things that did come out of that 460 utility was this lower PTO shaft. This is the old one, obviously with the buggered up end on it. It is the same shaft. There's no difference. The coupling on this end is the same. It splines onto the transmission side of things. The gear that came out of the utility version, not so much. This gear is the one that came out of the utility. This gear is what came out of our row crop. I'm sure you can see the obvious difference. The gear that came out of the utility is significantly smaller than the gear that came out of our row crop version. And okay, in a perfect world, that's not a big deal. You just take the input shaft gear assembly from the utility and put it in a row crop. Everything should be golden, right? And not so much. This is the input shaft assembly that came out of our row crop version. This is the input shaft assembly that came out of the utility version. Again, you can see the obvious difference in size from the utility input gear to our torn up row crop. But the other obvious difference is this housing. There's a difference in setup, design, whatever, when it comes to this bearing housing. That's not such a big deal because if you look at it, the bolt pattern is the same. So I did test fit the utility version in our row crop clutch housing and it does fit. The gears all line up fine, everything's good. But the problem doesn't stop there. There's a few different designs going on here. Let's start with the utility. This bearing assembly recesses inside the clutch housing. This bearing assembly takes the place of this bearing assembly on our row crop. This bearing assembly also has a surface that rides on the inside of this input gear on the utility version. This also has a seal in it. Ideally, it'd be nice to take this bearing assembly off of this shaft and just put it on this shaft. But there's a slight problem there. This shaft is slightly larger than this shaft. And we also have another issue where we can't just take this shaft and run it with our setup, because this shaft has external splines and this shaft has internal splines that is welded to the shaft. So they're two different shafts. That's where our problem lies. To keep that all straight, I had a hard time keeping it all straight trying to explain it to you. In the end, there wasn't much in the way of PTO parts that we were able to salvage from the utility version to use in the row crop. One other thing I want to note, and I don't remember if I ever said this before or not, but the utility version had a forward reverse clutch on it. So basically you could shift forward and reverse without taking the transmission out of gear. None of that's compatible with our row crop version. So in the end, I was able to use the one lower PTO shaft, which is all right. I was able to find our 79 tooth, I think 15 spline gear online from a tractor parts, used parts dealer out of Pennsylvania. They're the only ones that I could find that even had it. So that's being shipped. Hopefully it should be here today. This housing, I can buy these shafts aftermarket, new. I can buy them reman, whatever. What I am going to end up doing is I found a whole assembly used on eBay for a little over $100. So I'm going to get that assembly coming, and then I'll take it apart, replace the bearings if I need to. The main part I need is obviously this shaft. So I'll get a whole nother assembly and rebuild it, use what I can use between the two, and we'll have extra parts for, God forbid I ever got to do this again. So that's the scoop so far on the 460. So here I am again, feeling like I'm at a standstill with this 460 project. And yet, with every day that goes by, there's another day we're getting closer to hay season. Man, that is rusty. Well, I guess before I go get too crazy taking that off there, I need to measure and see how much pipe is sticking out from this flange. So when I put it on a new piece of pipe, it goes on the same depth. 4.5 inches. Jump. I like these quick, easy jobs. Wish everything could go that way. It just dawned on me, I haven't told you what I'm doing here. Well, I can't. It's top secret. Well, I guess it'll be good for another 20 or 30,000 miles. So I guess really the only other unanswered question I have on this PTO deal is the hydraulic pump drives off of that larger PTO gear. Well, mine got all chewed up. The PTO or the hydraulic pump gear got all chewed up. So I need to see if the gear on this hydraulic pump is the same as what's on my hydraulic pump. If I was a betting man, again, it's probably not. It's probably larger on this pump because the drive gear was smaller than what was in the row crop. But you don't know unless you take it apart, so that's what we're going to do now. let's see here. Well, my assumption was correct. The pump on the right is out of the utility. The pump on the left is what came out of our row crop. And you can visually see the gear is larger and loose on the shaft. But this is a Cessna pump. I'm not sure what brand this is. I can't find any markings on it. But this gear on this pump is noticeably smaller. So we're gonna have to see what we can do to locate the correct gear for this pump. And last but not least, we'll take the filter housing assembly out. And might as well save that. Who knows, that might be entirely different too. Oh my God. Well, that filter's junk. That actually has a paper element in it. I think the other one had 2 metal screens. Well, I think we're just going to put this right back where it came from. This upcoming week the kids have off from school. It's spring break around here, so that means I don't have to go drive school bus next week. Really looking forward to that, and the fact that we'll have more time to hopefully start some other projects around here, get caught up on some other stuff. We got baby broilers coming next week, so we got to get the brooder set up for that. So that's something else that we got to get done here in the very near future. As far as the 460 goes, I was going to film a lot of taking the utility apart and get down to that clutch housing, but the more I got thinking about it, I said, you know, it's pretty repetitive. I've already split the row crop 460, and the real meat and potatoes was getting down to that clutch housing. And the other side of that was I only had so much time with Logan to help with that project, so I just took advantage of the time I had with him to help me get that thing apart to where I could mess with it and get down to the parts that we needed for the PTO. So that's why I didn't really film any of it. So it is what it is. We're gonna hopefully get working on that, but that's what we got for a video. It's been pretty quiet around here as far as farm work goes. Been busy with a lot of other stuff, but hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you like our channel, as always, we ask you to subscribe. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.